Right, right. So the deleterious effects associated with THC and psilocybin are sort of due to an over-exasperation of our chemical and neurological systems. So, smoking too much obviously is going to overrun your body, right? The same chemicals activated during the quote high are the same chemicals that are ever running through your life in a lower amount, right? So this is why we see incredible motivation when we smoke THC. It's because it's flooding your body with dopamine. And this dopamine gives you that subjective feeling of motivation and forward movement. So if you're doing the substance too much, you're not going to be able to ground the positive, introspective, creative, and cognitive effect. Which, if you're able to sort of ground those ideologies into your daily life, then you will create the structures in your brain that will perpetuate that enlightened state of mind. The enlightened state of mind being increased cognitive, creative, emotional capabilities. And so, I mean, that's one of the fundaments of life, really, is accepting that there is a way that we can affect our lives towards the positive, that our life circumstance is the result of an eternity of choices, choices upon choices of being an infinite being of creative potential. I mean, all it really takes is being infinite once to create a nuanced experience of limitation to end up in something like this, a human lifespan where you got a 95-year shot at creating a beautiful experience around you, right? Eating, creative fulfillment, sex, all of these things are incredibly pleasant experiences that almost make an insurmountable amount of suffering worthwhile, right? Even just one of these experiences through a fleeting moment in time can be worth an incredible amount of suffering. So it's at this still point of philosophical ideology that we then contemplate further truths of our life, further applications of these notions that we hold at the deepest level of ourself, but have yet to actually implement so strongly that we actually become a resounding example of what prior masters in history have spoken about. And it's funny, we eat, we are not the thoughts for breakfast, you know, all of these basic spiritual truths, and it's truly up to us in our own personal subjective experience, beyond peer-reviewed papers, beyond the assessment of another individual, to come to the conclusions about the nature of the universe for ourselves. And in fact, it's not so exciting. It's not so exciting to realize that everything is temporary, there's no good or bad, it's up to us to decide the way to be, and that it's largely decided by intuitive subconscious notions of forward movement through this temporal reality, right? These subtle little encouragements to go eat, to protect our status, to have these unending, incessant fights in our mind of worry and woe and scripting circumstances so that we're not worried, causing a whole host of anxiety, personality, and attention disorders. So, of course, it's difficult, just because it's simple. All these things, I'm saying are simple and rote, but obviously it's not easy to implement. It is simple and anyone can do it because it's a science, right? Reality works a certain way. It's clearly working more than it's not, and sometimes it's preferable. We have to take advantage of the way that the world works in order to make it work for us. Because if we're fighting against the ever undercurrent of evolution, then we will be resisting the things that will allow us to transcend what we believe to be what we are at the mercy of. We feel like we're at the mercy of our mind and the world, but it's only a few logical conclusions and a couple of weeks of effort to completely transcend the menial woes of our culture and the echo of pessimism that infests our minds within the 3D architecture of our neuropsychology. Our neuropsychology being the electrical imprint and patterning of what we perceive to be an identity, an interpretation of ourselves, which again is transcended through the witnessing of the present moment and the surrender of that into the truth. The truth being the way, again, our world works. It works a certain way, and we can take advantage of that. And you either believe in a finite universe or an infinite universe. And if you believe in infinity at all, then things like reincarnation and limitless omnipotent powers seem to be just what comes with that. If you believe in a finite universe, then you can even still transcend the fear of death, because there will be, no one to be aware of the lack of awareness. So the fear of death falls away when you die, because there's no one to be afraid of that if you believe in the finite nature of things. If you believe in infinity, you believe that everything possible exists forever and your life is inevitable because it's something and it exists within that infinity. Now, here's where we go with that. How to not be afraid of this all and how to use it to your advantage. Well, you're going to wake up tomorrow. You're going to wake up probably entirely the same tomorrow. The only variance being your mood and whatever chaotic circumstance comes your way. And if it's not too much chaotic or different from your previous day, then you're going to wake up the same way, with the same way that your body works, the way the world works, and what you can do. And the strongest, most viable actions that we've ever discovered in history amongst many millions of cultures throughout time are the things that affect the body and the mind in a permanent way every single day. So you see exercise as a solution to depression only because, by the laws of science, it actually increases the amount of endorphins that run through us, therefore increasing our subjective sense of felt mood and what we're oriented to try and go do. So if you can manipulate that at least a little bit, it only becomes 1/6 of why you feel the way that you do, but it's at least a considerable variable to try to affect. It's not the immediate cure, but something that we cannot ignore in our attempt to transcend the victimhood mindset, being that we are at the mercy of the world and that there's nothing that we can do. If you've accepted, if you've believed into existence that you are unable to transcend even a modicum amount of the societal woes that we experience, then you will never experience a positive life. But if you spend this life truest to your heart and putting your essentially your heart and life on the line, then you will transcend all of these menial woes nearly immediately. Not only can this be seen in a sweeping array of stories throughout history, if someone who has gone from the most adverse circumstance to transcending that and creating a great work, it's just the way that things work. And this isn't to denote years and years and years of depression and suddenly tomorrow you're just going to be excited to fix yourself. Not at all. You'll probably, not want to do it at all due to the daunting nature of eternity. But it's kind of cool that we die. It's the end of a story. We get to read another book. We get to craft another experience, an unfolding of the billiard balls of the atomic clay that we find ourselves in, vibrating in and out of eternity, darkness, and light. It's quite a thing. And then you can just go from a blank slate. You can just go right back down to the basics and say, well, yeah, I'm going to wake up tomorrow as me. All I can do is make the best of it. If I really don't want to, that's okay too. There's no personified God in the sky judging me for my misactions. There's nobody around me. I'm responsible for this. And again, it's kind of cool that I might die. And there's something inside of me at the deepest part of myself beyond my ability to articulate it that might actually be inclined to start trying. So if you might even possibly imagine a preferable life over the incessant depression of what we currently experience on a widespread scale, then you're ahead of the majority of the fears of our population, and you are ahead of the thinking of it, and you will surely succeed if you ever even slightly try to challenge your emotions through difficult experiences where you know that it's impossible to avoid anger and frustration, but you're prepared with mindfulness and emotional intelligence to be able to transmute that into your inevitable strength. So, snaps for that, guys. Woohoo! And I'm definitely there with you. You can think about all this and it can still just do nothing. Woe is me. And you know what? I'm there with you. Woe is us. But for sure, I believe in you. I love you from the bottom of my heart. And it might be impossible or uncomfortable to imagine, but I genuinely care for your utmost good because, in fact, unity-like actions are the smartest supporting actions for the individual. This is what I wish trolls would know, is that being kind and loving makes your life easier, bud. Yeah. No, seriously. Being kind is generative. Loving is generative. Giving somebody a high five, it's generative. Accepting that somebody else made a mistake and it affected you negatively, but that's just the way of things, actually supports the evolution for both individuals. It's smart to be kind. So if in your life you have a narcissist, or somebody who is extremely combative to your way of life, do not invoke that as something that is a reality onto you, or an assessment or a reality of you, because it's not playing by the most kindest, positive, and winning rules. The winning rule being positivity. So you can ignore them, not hate them or cast them away, but wish them the best and avoid. Right? Snakes are cool. Some of them bite. Stay away. They're cool, but it's a part of reality that I'm going to stay away from for my survival. Guys, there's emotional survival. There's primal spiritual survival. You have to stay away from these people. And you can help them. You want to help them. God, you're so desperate. I can't let it go. No, oh God. But that's okay, because the smart ones know how to change the environment which these negative people are a systemic byproduct of. So our archaic systems of governance and education is why it's completely logical, oddly enough, that the dumbest people run our world. Like, we're clearly not led by the highest capabilities of human intelligence. The average awakened person knows this, knows what the problems are and how to fix them. It's just that there's an overwhelming amount of adversity to stifle these people, to snuff them out, and cause, just a lack of belief in optimism and innovation. But it is those who stand up like warriors once did, with a sword and their might and their heart on the front lines, to fight, yes, literally, for their values, for their home values. Now, we're not so barbaric in this modern day. In fact, the majority of us are too feeble to even fight on the heroic lines. But the war has become the war of the mind, sort of transcending the 3D architecture of the collective neuropsychology through the invocation of our unique and creative purpose, one that shines out from us through just a smile, or the splatter of paint on a wall, or the echo and reverb of our voice down a hall. It's something like that, guys. Yeah. Anyway. See, where has this gone? Why are things flashing? um let's see. Oh, I love you guys too. Yo, wait, is that B-Sige? All I know you is B-Sige. But bro, you've been seeing improvement. I love that. I love that for you. Me as well. We're gonna have to battle one day, and then after we battle and you beat me, we'll play together so you can carry me. XD. Let's go. Yeah, I just beat a supersonic legend earlier today. Gnar factor. Extraordinary. We're just gonna leave this here. You're looking at a wall. So, and I'm not looking for a boyfriend, but that's cool. You're probably an amazing gentleman who deserves the world. Where were we? Oh yeah. The strongest supporting actions for the individual every single day are those that affect our physiology and the neuropsychology that constructs our interpretation of reality, including ourselves, our identity, what our emotions mean, and what's possible for us. In fact, what's possible for us is unlimited, because everything that exists is an etheric substratum of intelligence that we propagate from. Did you cause your heart to beat right now? Or was that a vastly ancient and intellectual process beyond your mildest comprehension that is there to support your existence? In fact, the functioning of your heart, or even the most menial cell in your body, is more vastly intelligent than the construction of a limited identity in our mind that caps our capacity to innovate and evolve. It's almost like, who are you even to think that you know that you're incapable of doing anything, when what is giving you life is much more intelligent and at immediate access. Sorry, I can't speak. See? I'm speaking something so profound, and yet my tongue evades me. XD. You know what I mean? Life is a meme. Life is a meme, you know? It's quite funny. So let's go into THC and psilocybin, oh, our favorite things. So again, we'll just run through that really quickly and then touch on the other thing. But the overusage of THC causes the deleterious symptoms, because we're over-exasperating the chemical systems that are ever pervasive during our day. So, if we run these systems dry, we're going to feel depleted, and it is going to reduce the gray matter in our brain, the gray matter being the fat that perpetuates our intelligence and neurological creations. Actually, and that's, well, white matter are the synapses, and gray matter is the rest there, but it's through the thorough application of the experiences and introspective eureka that we experience under THC and psilocybin that it constructs the chemical and neurological systems that will allow us to sustain that state of mind. It's the acceptance of ourselves and the washing away of our emotionality that allows us to capitalize on that. If we are not taking responsibility for our own selves, then we will be at the mercy of the environment and the ever so pleasurable chemicals that we chase on a daily basis to suit and soothe our existential crisis. The crisis of being alive in a world that is clearly avidly against humanity and the primality of our souls being the undercurrent of intelligence and electrical nature of our reality, a facet that we can all agree upon and intuitively feel. Yet there is the construct of an immense amount of religious dogma that limits our ability to conceive this in our daily lives, capitalize on that, and experience a pleasant communal and societal reality worldwide. So yeah, that's the state of things, guys. I'm saying things you already know. Here we go. If at first you don't succeed, finish my sentence. Try and try again. See, you already have the logic that you need to live an entire life successfully. It's the application of that that's difficult. It's the sustainment that's difficult. But you, as a God, put yourself under the bindings of a flesh so that you may experience the turmoil of an infinite creation and the emotional depth of what's possible and almost inconceivable by an omnipotent force. For an omnipotent force has no necessitation to even succumb itself to its own will or the surrender of suffering, unless it has created that circumstance, is bound by it, and cannot conceive any further. For the most omnipotent of omnipotence is infinity itself, the essence of what is. Infinity means everything all at once, forever, including you. Let's see what's going on here. Hello. Hey, thanks, guys. Sorry I'm not catching up on comments. I'm just kind of trying to ramble here. This is for me. So, you guys listening, you're doing me a service. If I don't read your comment or say anything, oh, well, I've read it in my head and I love you and I really care for you and it matters to me. It really does. So, if I don't respond to it, it's not you, it's me. I'm just saying things for me right now. Feels good to just be faceless and ramble and rant. So I see you guys, I love you, and I'm glad that it's meeting you well. Yay. So let's see, where can we go from there? Well, I guess we can do one of my favorite rants is destigmatizing slash the conveyance of a re-understanding of meditation. So meditation, immediately the word might invoke this nastiness and hatred in your heart or your gut. You might literally feel it in those places in your body. Ugh, meditation, I hate it. Fuck meditation. Well, I get you. So let's explain it from bottom up in a way that is sensible for the average individual. So, and discipline. We'll cover the word discipline too, and motivation and procrastination. So all of these things come from, well, our organism. Our organism works a certain way. The subjective feeling of motivation is a chemical and neurological response. We can look at it, we can study it, we can affect it with behavior. Behavior meaning the spiritual exercises that you see, diet, everything that affects our blood, our body, what it is. So meditation isn't, I can snap my fingers, quiet my mind, and I'm doing it. And if I can't do that, I cannot meditate. It's not, I have ADHD, so my mind is jumping all over the place. I can't do it. Not being able to meditate is good. That's why you meditate. So that's not the whole explanation. So when you're focusing on your what's called a meditation object, which is like your breath or a mantra that you repeat in your head, or even counting, or just focusing on your toe, or even imagining a brilliant landscape. That's your meditation object, right? Right now, you can choose what to think about. Cool, you're already meditating. So let's look at our breath. We can focus on our breath for 5 minutes, during the meditation, and then at some point, we'll notice that we've randomly just started thinking about something. There wasn't a moment where we immediately noticed that we lost focus on our breath. We just suddenly realized retrospectively that we lost our object. So it's literally the moment that you retrospectively remember to focus on your breath again, even though there's thoughts in the background, right? That's the key here. There will be thoughts in quote in the background trying to get your attention. So you'll focus on your breath, you'll hear Apple, you'll hear all these what-if scenarios throughout your day. Nancy said your boots looked ugly, whatever. It's going to be in your brain. The moment that you retrospectively witness the fact that you have stopped meditating, and gently, which means without getting frustrated that you've stopped meditating, gently return to your meditation object, is the literal moment, and we know this neuroscientifically, you are creating the concentration circuit in your brain. You are thickening a circuit in your brain. And now immediately, okay, well, I'm thickening the circuit in my brain. It's not working. I still hate meditation. There with you. Believe me, I get it. So the gains here are realized throughout the day and throughout the weeks that you start doing this practice, and even immediately during the practice. As you rack up these bicep curls of refocusing on the present moment, it becomes more vivid. You become more aware of the subconscious sort of projections, like, oh my God, I just suddenly started thinking about why my boots are ugly. Oh my God, I'm going to stop thinking about that. You gain that awareness, you gain that perception very gradually as you retrospectively witness that you have stopped focusing on the present moment. And what this causes is a spiritual awakening. You start to gain an immense perception as to the myriad, manifold, incessant thoughts that are randomly created in your mind throughout the day that microdose your blood full of cortisol and, well, the quality and intensity of the ever-perpetual thoughts that we're thinking. So it's not that we're trying to become overwhelmed. We don't want to be overwhelmed by this. We just want to do what we can. And it's very gradual. It's a very gradual perceptual and actual, meaning action, shift every single day. So you might catch a dozen tomorrow. You might catch 8 the next day. And then the next week after you advance in this practice, you're catching 5,000, over 5,000 incessant, irrelevant worries in your mind, and you're replacing that with a gentle return to your breath in the present moment, which neuroscientifically and physiologically soothes your body and regulates your nervous system. Now, yes, we all have incredibly varying life circumstances, and we're at the mercy of adversity that nobody else could imagine, and things like that. But it is scientifically and mathematically proven that every single individual human being has 1 to 1,000 actions that they can do every single day to guarantee that they wake up in their flesh the next day more readily equipped for the chaos of this world. The chaos being your mood shift, what happens at your job, what happens with your family, what happens with your failures, everything. Just sitting down and basically practicing the brain, practicing perceiving and changing and altering and editing it. Just the act of that sets you up for the majority of challenges in life. And that's one of the most effective things you can do, obviously. So meditation isn't shutting off your mind. It could be a 30-second practice where you're just present with your brain, trying to edit it in the direction of a more positive life that will affect you permanently and actually creates an actual change inside of you. Right? Thinking a thought right now, you're playing on circuitry inside of you, 3D physical circuitry created out of lipid protein pathways. Right? You eat food, you think a thought, you just turn that food into a synapse. That's happening inside of you. Approaching the existentiality of our life and the organismal existence that we find ourselves in is necessary and not something that we should avoid. It's not something that should cause a depression. It's something that should set us free from that, or at least give us a gateway into at least a modicum amount of a satisfactory existence. So what the hell is going on here? The goal of life. Let us talk the goal of life. Wait. I'll plug it in. No, I know what the goal of life is, guys. Hold on, let me just plug this in. Whoops. Hello. Okay. The goal of life is in the question. Well, goals, and I just kind of wanted to say that. But, there's always the question, what is the meaning to life? Well, there it is. It's meaning. It's finding meaning. It's creating that. One of the base contemplations here is, what if I was infinity? What if I was God? What would God do if it was God forever? Yada yada, Alan Watts, Ram Dass, Buddha, Jesus, contemplations here. You would create a limited experience, exploring the full gamut of emotions, including suffering. In fact, our suffering is sort of like the terms and conditions for our dreams, because It's the suffering and the resistance that's necessary for our organism to attain the skills, masteries, and awarenesses to be able to execute on whatever we want to do. A profound, unique, creative exploration of the singularity that is our point of infinity. Infinity being the essence of what we are, source, God, whatever. So the bird, yep, it's God. The tree, yep, it's God. Everything knows what it is. Humans contemplate it because we're so smart. That's the thing. We're limited by our free will, in a sense, because our will is not free. Obviously, it's bound by our past experiences, the chaos of tomorrow, our mood, and everything like that. That's why we're talking here about the tools of consciousness, being, gradually increasing our awareness and mastery of our emotions, because that's a factor that we're going to deal with every single day, something that we can manipulate and master. But I guess the goal or meaning of life, is meaning. It's finding meaning. There's no one meaning to life. In fact, one of my meanings to life is achieving a homeostatic state of pleasantness and ease inside of me that naturally attracts me to the pursuit of my dreams and evolution. Right? My dream is akin to my highest creative pursuit, and my evolution is pertaining to the physicality of my energy. Energy can only transform, right? We've all heard that. Well, that means evolution. So if you're staying the same, then you're resisting the laws of nature. That's why you're sad. Sadness is an indication. It's not who you are, right? Sadness and depression becomes who you are when all you talk about is why you're suffering and why the world is broken. That's your personality. You're justifying everything that happens to you with the way that you perceive yourself, because the way that you perceive yourself is what's constructed in your brain as your only, one and only, perception of reality. Your perception of reality is almost entirely bound by your own personal experiences and how you see yourself. How you see yourself is how you see other human beings. And if you don't see human beings the way that you see yourself, through judgments or otherwise, then you're only going to give them what? Well, love or hate, an emotional reaction empowered by your verbal intelligence. Your verbal intelligence is your ability to articulate your feelings. Early on, a baby cries because it's hungry. Then you learn to ask. Then you learn to ask more politely. Then you find it on your own. This is an adaptation to a feeling that is concurrent in our lives, yet has a varying amount of articulation and satisfactory action. So, this is something that we can contemplate into our daily lives to accept the intentional, subconscious perpetuation of our own suffering, to limit that and afford that energy to creative purposes. Whew. Sorry. Gotta breathe after that one. But yeah, that's the goal of life. Sorry, you're here. You can't just think game over or I quit and then it all goes away. Sorry, it's not that easy. You have to die for this all to go away. You either have to die like your physical body gets broken enough to, not be able to withstand your intelligence, or you die within your own mind. You find all the inconsistencies and illogical hypocrisies in your brain that you perpetuate because you're feeling sad, and then you replace those with efforts to transcend the menial chaos of our world. Menial chaos being, oh my gosh, I was not able to land a kickflip. That means I suck at skateboarding. And replacing that with, I did not land the kickflip, I'm gonna try again. I know kind of circling on that point is basically obvious, but I thought I'd just slam that home if we're talking about the existentiality of our world. I mean, everything that's being said here is something that we already know in our hearts, and the hardest part is actually acting on it enough without seeing results, with the world basically telling you it's futile until you see a result that proves all the worthwhileness of your suffering up until now. How fucking hard is that, guys? I know. It's next to impossible. But if you were able to achieve it, then you would be able to delete slash backspace, just like select all of your past as a text in a document and smash the backspace button. That's what we're looking for. You can only smash that backspace button when you've efforted to prove yourself wrong and then merited that proof, garnered it. So, let's see, base principles here, base principles. If we had to rethink about everything, remove the dogma of science and peer-reviewed paper consciousness and Oompa Loompa supporters for office, if we just had to do that all, I would say that you either believe in an infinite reality or a finite reality. If you believe in infinity, then you're immediately omnipotent, and then your life can be immediately logically deduced into being one of your own creation for a purpose, and that purpose being to experience, well, meaning and purpose. Because if everything exists forever, then you are the original thing that did everything, and will is a dimension of our reality. Cool. Dusts off hands. Okay, and if you believe in a finite reality, then everything is determined, everything that you do does not matter, therefore has no meaning, and you don't have to be afraid of death because it's inevitable, you don't control it, and at least it would mean the end of your suffering forever. So, I guess you can tell which one I'm biased towards. But still, these are active contemplations that you can invoke into your consciousness to erode all of your illogical fallacies, yada yada, and become what you were destined to be. Wait, is destiny a thing? Could be. You know, you're born with a set of proclivities, attractions. Those do not go away, they are beyond articulation, and somehow resurface in adulthood when one dismantles the negatively wired introspective psychology. Sorry, that's not the word I wanted to use. But we revert to the attractions of our childhood splendor when we erode what we are not, which is what we thought we should be for a very long time. So there must always be an undercurrent, an essence of what we are attracted to and destined to create. Are you going to be a doctor to heal people? Are you going to be a nurse to heal people? Are you going to be a gardener to heal people? Well, you have an attraction to healing. However you dress it is whatever you choose. So let's go to the difficulty of being an infinite being, which is I can do anything, I can accomplish anything, where do I start? And this is where human wisdom, like human non-metaphysical based wisdom comes in. Well, the human body works a certain way. You have to act to gain confidence because if, your thoughts aren't working, then of course you're not going to be confident. And if you have thoughts that you're not acting on, then you're never going to gain that confidence. Confidence is something that you gain in your brain. It's not a metaphysical essence. Yada yada. So this isn't the casting away of the human body. It's actually a flourishment and enhancement of it. Spirituality is not the transcendence of our humanity. It is the accentuation of it. The accentuation of the ecstatic, vibratory joy that created this universe in the fucking first place. So, whatever you like to do, that's your spirituality. If what you like to do is difficult and you want to stop, well, there you go. There's your emotional threshold. There's an echelon of anxiety and frustration that you have not yet surpassed and that you can effort to do so. And when you effort to do so, you become stronger, more vibrant, and capable. Don't you want to be those things? You can't just lie to me here, world, people, that you don't want to have a satisfying life or that you don't believe that there's something that you could do to make it better. You can. It's here. It's immediately available. And there are people who are actively in the world trying to find you, your circumstance, in the way that you believe, with all of their might and all of their life. It causes them suffering how much they're trying to fucking find you and help you. So that, and anybody in your circumstance has tried and succeeded. There's a person out there at every point in your story and beyond. All stories have been told. We live in a world where we decide the way that we want to be. We live in a world where we're infinitely capable. In fact, what's happening on Earth right now is the newest thing that's happening in the universe. You're the newest thing. You're the greatest thing that has yet been created. So if you were to not be your fullest self, you would be doing a disservice to everything that's ever existed to try to get you to exist, motherfucker. So there you go. Yep. Anyway, I think that's it. Didn't really want to say anything else. Didn't really want to, that's what I say. Yep. God. Thanks everyone for joining. Sorry if I missed your comments and whatever. I hope you benefited at all. Seriously. Hope somebody was helped here. And yes, that's what I wanted. Your girlfriend of 4 years. Well, my friend, you had an amazing 4 years with a lover. You had an experience that not many people may have. A broken heart means that it's now open to more love. A broken heart means that a source of love in your life is now gone, cannot be replaced, but only by your own love, your own self-compassion, your own continued development as a human being, right? You're going to become more strong. You're going to become more confident. You're going to know yourself more. You're going to know tools of emotional intelligence and whatnot. So the next relationship that you get into is going to be more aligned with your highest self, your deepest curiosities, everything inside of you. And the patience that's necessary here is incredible. You need a lot of patience, and that's not bad. In fact, every iota more of patience that you have is going to suit you in every area of your life. And this is just the way that it went. Something that is meant to be will be forever for you, my friend, and it's out there for all of us. You know, human beings are 99.99% alike. That 1% difference is our uniqueness, and it almost matters the most, but that 99% the same can give us a lot of faith in that we will find somebody who is like us and that we will vibrate with. So, my friend, you were given a gift. This wasn't the best that it could get. It's going to get better for you, my friend, in that next relationship, whenever it is. Yeah. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Uh, Thanks for hanging out. If I missed your comment, I'm very sorry. This was just for me to ramble, to feel good, to kind of vent a little bit. So, thanks.